I'm Rob Skinner, and this is the Rob Skinner Podcast. Today I'm talking to a medical missionary by the name of Dr. Alberto Denis. Born in Panama to an indigenous family, Alberto moved to Panama City and studied medicine. A friend helped him become a Christian in his fourth year of med school. After serving his country for 2 years, he moved back to his indigenous homeland and served the poor by going from island to island, healing, helping, and delivering babies. With little knowledge of English, he applied for the ReviveEE program and learned conversational English in 3 months. He served in Romania and now lives in Moldova, where he's learning Romanian. He has plans to return to medical school, this time in Madrid, Spain, and then lead a life as a medical missionary wherever Jesus calls. All this and more on the Rob Skinner Podcast. Welcome back to the Rob Skinner Podcast. My goal is to inspire you to live a no-regrets life, make this life count, and multiply disciples, leaders, and churches. It's been a great month. We are well into February, to the very end of February. Hope you're having a great year so far. It was so exciting. Yesterday at church, we had a baptism. Isidro Rivera Cruz got baptized. He's a guy that we have been studying the Bible with for about 5 or 6 months, and it was just fantastic to see him get saved. He was deeply impacted by the retreat that we went to last week in Flagstaff, Arizona, with a singles retreat, and it was just great to see his tears and his desire to become a Christian. So that's always encouraging. So we're very, very happy to see that's the third baptism this year for our church. And so we're just, we're excited about what God is doing. And we've got other people that want to become Christians counting the cost this week. Hope you're having a great year so far. And I just want to say thank you for listening to this podcast. If you feel like you're benefiting from it, that you enjoyed it, I'd like to ask you to support it with a gift, because your support enables me to multiply disciples, leaders, and churches, and inspire others to do the same thing through this podcast. All you need to do is just simply go to the show notes, and there's a link there that you can click to support the program. Alberto, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Rob, for having me.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to talking to you ever since I talked to Mark and Annie McCune, and they mentioned
Me
you.
too.
How'd you become a Christian?
My parents are indigenous, they were born in indigenous territory in my country, in Panama. So they are not Christian. They used to be not Christian. But then when I was 2 years old, my older sister needs to go to high school. So we moved from this territory, indigenous territory, to Panama City. So I grew up in Panama City. But then my older siblings, I have 3 older siblings, they were trying to find places where they can feel that they belong. So they found churches in Panama City. So they took me, probably when I was 9, 10 years, they took me to those churches. So when I was very young, I started to be curious about churches. and I started to go to different churches. I went to the Catholic Church and to Protestant churches like Baptist Church and Mormon. But everything was because I was curious about, and maybe because I wanted to be part of something. And then I found a church, a Pentecostal church, and I stay in that church. And then after, when I was 17 years old, I decided not to attend anymore this church, because I decided to study medicine, and I was pretty busy and I was, medicine was my priority at that moment. But then I grew up like because I grew up in that church, I think I grew up like kind of confused about Jesus, about the Bible. Actually, I didn't know about repentance, about sin, and so I grew up like with that religious mind. So when I was in my fourth grade of medicine, 4 year, sorry, in medicine, I met my friend from high school. I have a friend from high school who is a disciple. He's still a disciple. He met me in the university and he invited to me to Bible talk, and I went to that Bible talk and I met a missionary. Um, um, uh, his name is Eric Garcia, and he and my friend he studied the Bible with me, and then I during that the Bible studies I realized I was very religious and I didn't know about sin, repentance, and Bible. Even if I grew up like for many years in that church, I didn't know about those. I didn't have convictions. So yeah, my mind was like open. I felt like I was blind, and when I studied the Bible I was like, wow, now I know about Jesus. Now I can die for Christ. So thanks Jesus because he died for me, and thanks Jesus because I can be saved now, and now I know the truth. So yeah, so I became a Christian when I was 21 years old. I was in medical school in my 4 year of medicine when I was 21 years old.
Okay, so you're born, raised in Panama. You're
Mhm.
indigenous. What's the name of your tribe or your people?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So the indigenous territory is called Guna Jala, which means like the land of the Guna. Guna is the people who is from there. So yeah, it's in the like north east from Panama City, and is they we have like a how do you say this, like
Like a state or a
yeah, it's like a narrow land
right,
in the coast
like on
in
the
the
coast.
Caribbean Sea.
Okay. So like a state or a coastal area. Okay. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
how you became a Christian at 21. How old are you now?
So now I'm 30 years old.
Okay, and so you became a doctor. What type of a doctor did you become?
So I finished in 2019. Uh, mm, my degree, my major is doctor in medicine and surgery. But in my country, is just like a general practitioner.
General practitioner. Okay.
Yeah.
Did your mom inspire you to become a doctor? I mean, that's pretty amazing just to become a doctor for
Mhm.
anybody. Like where'd you get that inspiration?
Yeah. So I think my father influenced me because when I was kid, he used to put in the TV like the series about science, and he likes like to how do you say this, to sow, like to plant, and he used to we used to plant together like rice or corn, and so from kid when I was young I really liked the science. So when I was 17 years old, uh, I was between biology and medicine. But then, in order to get a spot in in the best med school in Panama, uh, I needed to take like a course. I need to do like a test to get a spot
Got it.
in that med school. So I took that course, and in that course, the teachers were like doctors, or students of medicine. So they talk a lot about medicine, and I was very, very inspired by them.
Got it.
And I really liked the way that he were talking about medicine and stuff. So I think that's why I decided, look, let's try with medicine.
That's great. So you were 21 when you became a Christian. You're 30 now. You were in the fourth year of your medical program at that time. Can you give an overview of your life and your career from your conversion until now? Where have you been? Just kind of give us a short overview.
Okay, so became a Christian when I was for a year of medicine. Then I finished 2 years after. I finished my degree, and then I had to work for 2 years for the government. So I worked for 2 years in the government, and then I work in private hospital like a 1 year, and then I came back to the to work for the government 1 year more. So um, in yeah, so and then after that, I was looking for a job, for a better job, and then I. Do you want me to talk about Revive also, or?
Sure. So how'd you get interested in Revive? So you were about 28 when you finished all of these government jobs and assignments.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was 27. Yeah, 20, almost 27 when I finished. It was almost 7 years in med school, and then 2 years in the working with the government, and then 1 year more working outside of the government. So it was, yeah, like when I was 27 years when I finished.
Wow. Okay. So what was it about ReviveEE? I mean, that to go from Panama to Eastern Europe, I don't see much of a connection. How'd you hear about it? How did you get connected? How did you get
So
there?
yeah, so I like Philippians chapter 2, I think 12 or 13, which said like God um God put put us like to act and to will. And I think that when I became a Christian, I had that will to be a missionary. Even if I was studying medicine, I did my best to study the Bible with people, to baptize young people in my campus. But I was also trying to be responsible with what God gave me, right? And I was gonna be the first professional in my family, and I was, and so I try my best to live my life as a med student, and then after a doctor. But then I also wanted to be a missionary. So when I found out that I was free, I just finished. I don't have any compromise with like finances compromises. I was like, okay, this is the time to 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 fulfill or to do what I want to do. And then I've read about Revive, and at that moment I also was looking for a place. Like I was like, let me try in another country, or let me try in my country. But there at that moment there wasn't. I didn't have opportunities to serve in my country, so I've I read about Revive, and I said, maybe this is what God wants from me. And but the thing is, I didn't speak really well English. So and everything was gonna be in English. So I was like, okay, if it's God's will, everything is gonna work. Like if he God put that will, that desire to do this, God is gonna help me to go there. And so I work with that. I pray for that, and yeah, now I'm in Revive.
Okay, so clearly you're like a big dreamer. Okay, your family doesn't have any professionals. You grew up in a
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah,
minority in Panama.
yeah, yeah,
You're not part of the majority, and yet you
yeah,
become a
exactly.
doctor. But then you think, I'm not content with just staying here in my country. I'm going to go overseas. Where'd you get this like big vision, big dreaming, just to think, okay, I can do a lot more than I'm where I'm at right now?
So I think again, like that desire to do well, or to do, yeah, to dream. I think mm, so from, I think from medicine, like my people around me were thinking like, you are trying to fish a big fish.
Right,
What you should try to do something like small, or to
right,
fish a small fish first, and then to fish a big fish. But I think everything is, God gave me the wisdom, gave me um, the, how do you say, everything that He gave me everything, so I can do His will. So I think
and
that
so it,
desire to do more, I think that came from God.
yeah.
That can come from God, and just work with that, work with my desire, and I don't try to ignore that desire, and especially when we were talking about His kingdom, like I I don't come here. I didn't come here to be in Europe. I
Right,
came here to spread the gospel to others.
right.
So I think God works with that.
That's right. So it ties back to that scripture in Philippians chapter 2, verse 13 that you mentioned earlier, where it says, "For it is God who works in you to will and to
Yes,
act in order to fulfill his good purpose." So what you're saying
Amen.
is you feel like it's God working in you to accomplish his purpose, to will give you the desire to do it. It comes from God.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I absolutely believe that, and Revive has also has helping me to, not just because Revive, but it's mm, to be in an environment where you you are seeing many miracles daily. I think your convictions are my convictions are growing and growing, and I think that in any place that I'm going, even if it's buying a kebab, or even if go into the bus, the person in the same lifter or elevator, the IN, there is a purpose
Mm,
there. So I think that Revise has been helping me to understand that my life, it doesn't matter like where am I, or what am I. God can use me in every place.
that's amazing.
So yeah,
When you think about Jesus's ministry, it's interesting how many times Jesus was interrupted and, was like the lady who was bleeding, she grabbed his cloak, and, many interruptions that, um like not Barabbas, but Bartimaeus, the blind man, says shouting, Lord Jesus, help save me, or please have mercy on me.
Mhm.
A lot of it daily interruptions. Not didn't seem like a plan, but just kind of like as you go. So what you're saying is that you see God working in just your daily normal life. That's very powerful. Now
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about language, because okay, first of all, you grew up in a family speaking not Spanish, but your local
Mhm.
tribal language, or your
Mhm.
local language, and then you learned Spanish in Panama
Mhm.
City, but you didn't speak English well when you applied for Revive. And so this is what Mark and Annie were really remarking on. They said, this guy, he learned English in like 6 months or something like that. Can you tell me a little bit about that, your process? And also you're learning some new languages. So how did you learn English, and what helped you?
Yeah, sure. I think have the desire to learn a language is the first step. Like many people can say like I want to speak that language, but they actually then don't have the a big desire or like deep desire to speak that language. And I think to learn a language you need to have like a goal. You have to have you have to have purpose, the why are you learning that language. And I think I learned English quickly because I have that goal to be in Revive. And I know that when I applied to Revive, I only have like 3 months in order to get my interview with Sean Uten or Derry Vet. So I was like, let's plan something, and then I found a sister from Colombia who helped me. Her name is Amanda Cedeño, and she's from the church in Bogota. And I asked her to help me to learn English. So I think if there is people in our movement who are professional, uh, yes, who are teacher, and I think it's very one of the things that you can do when you want to learn English is to find someone who can teach you, or maybe to find material like videos, um, that so you can learn through those. In my case, I committed to to that sister. I told that sister, let's um, let's have 2 or 3 classes per week in order to get this interview and to have a basic English, so I can go to Romania.
Okay, so
So
let me okay. So you basically had 3 months to learn English. You knew some words, obviously, but you really weren't
yeah.
you weren't fluent at the time.
Mm.
But now your English is very good. And like give me some tips, okay, on language
Mhm.
learning, because I spent 10 years in Japan and it was so challenging to learn that language.
Okay.
And give me some bullet points here. Like if a person really wants to learn a language quickly, what do they need to do?
Mhm. Okay, so I think the most important thing is like to speak with local people or with people who speak that language that you want to learn. What I'm doing right now with Romanian is every chance that I have to speak with someone Romanian, I just speak, even if it's just like, uh, how are you? Or I'm from Panama, basic things. I think is you practice or you take every person that you met, you practice with that person that language. You eventually gonna learn the basic things, and then you can continue. But yeah, I think uh, having a teacher or having materials where you can learn through that, and also to practice it daily or in as much as you can. I think that's very very important.
Okay,
I
that's good.
think yeah.
Go ahead. So you said set a goal,
Sure.
get a
Yeah.
teacher, get the materials,
Yeah.
speak with locals every opportunity, and
Hmm.
practice it daily. Anything else?
Yeah. I think be persistent because yeah, consistent like daily, and persistent like when the the things are challenging. Uh, because it's gonna be challenging. It's not easy, but you need to be persistent and keep going. And what I also I like to do is like in my daily day. For example, I don't know, see a paper, I'm trying to say this. How can I say this in Romanian, for example, or if I cook something, what I'm using to cook. So I try to involve my daily my my daily day with the language that I'm learning. Um, so it's more. I'm trying to to engage to that language
Got it.
or to put the language in my daily day, and I think that's that's an easy way to learn a language in a short time.
Okay. So how do you deal with, okay, one of the biggest things that I've dealt with is it's scary. It's really hard to make mistakes. And your pride gets in there because you don't want to look dumb. You don't want to look
Mhm.
stupid because
Yeah,
you freeze up, or you don't know what to say, or you say the wrong thing. I mean, I've said so many stupid things in Japanese
yeah,
that just people laugh at you. How do you
yeah.
get past that? How do you push past that fear and conquer your pride? How do you deal with that, just to accept the fact that you're going to make mistakes, because that'll keep you from even trying.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I agree. It's not difficult, but I think I think you need to find the right people to speak. Because I've like for example, living in Romania in Moldova, they speak Romanian. I haven't found any Romanian or Moldovan who doesn't like to when you speak to them in their language, to have that idea that they don't want you to feel you bad. Maybe it could be people, but not it's not the majority. They want you to speak their language. So um, I feel like you are more connected to them.
Right.
They appreciate that, and you
Right.
are trying to be connected to them. And if I have that mindset that they also appreciate that I'm trying, I won't be afraid, or I won't be feel like they don't want me or they don't want to talk to me. So I think uh, like not thinking about they don't want to, they don't um, want you to speak their language. I think that's very important, to think that they want you to practice their language with them.
Okay. What happens when they come back at you? You speak to them in Romanian, and they come back to you in English.
So so yeah, that was the challenging that we had in Romania, for example, but that's not challenging here. Here in Moldova, people doesn't speak English at all, so you actually can practice Romanian here with people. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
but
it's very impressive what you're doing, because you've not only picked up English, but now you're picking up Romanian, which I'm sure you never imagined that
I,
you do that.
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying.
That's incredible. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your experience in Revive. What's been the best thing?
Mm,
What's been the most challenging?
okay. Okay. I think the most challenging has been, um, let's just start with the most challenging. I think when once I came here, I couldn't express myself 100%. And I think that I'm still working in that because obviously like everything was in English, and there was moment that I couldn't, like, even if I try my best to express what I think, how I feel, because of the language barriers. Um, um, I couldn't like what I say express myself. So I think that was challenging because there was moment that I felt out that maybe I don't have um, the same culture or point of view, or yeah, I have different life experience than
Right.
others. So that sometimes make me feel like I was out, but I wasn't. Like it's just like life. Like everything
Right.
has everyone has different experiences. So then I just get it. Like I just understand that I don't have to know everything, or I don't have to have the same experience that people have. So yeah, I think that was challenging for me, like not to be able to communicate 100%.
Right. Because a
Um,
lot of the team is composed of Americans who are speaking English.
no, not all of them, but yeah, the majority is from America.
Got it. Okay.
Um, yeah, so I think that was challenging at the beginning, and then I just got it. I just understand that I won't understand everything, and we have different experience, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think the most is excited, or the most what I have been learning, if what I told you already, is I have, you know, that at 17, 26, 28, that he said that God made with one man he made everything, and he put the boundaries and and the times for every people, so we
Right.
can know him,
Right.
right? And I think that's something that like I'm claiming every day, like
Hmm.
every person that I met, every it's not just in a mission time, it's just in my life. There is a purpose behind, and I think that's something that I won't forget. That
Hmm.
if I come back to Panama, I probably will will think in that in the same way. Um, like every person that I'm gonna meet in Panama, if I come back to Panama or if I go to Spain, there is a purpose behind it. God put me at that moment so I can ask them if they want to know about God. So I think that is the most important thing. And the second thing is, um, God is faithful. God is very faithful to us, and people who are looking for God, we're gonna meet them. We're gonna meet people who are seeking for God, and we're gonna be used by God. Uh, we are just uh, like His hands, and He's gonna use us to help others to come to Him,
That's awesome.
to come back to Him. And I think I have seen so many people who were seeking for God, and we just met randomly in the street. Uh, so that's amazing to see. That's amazing. God is very faithful,
That's great.
and yeah,
That's great. So there's a purpose for every interaction. Wherever you go, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to create something. God has prepared the good works in advance. So you just this person you bump into at the convenience market, there's probably a purpose. There's a purpose for running into that
yeah,
person. And secondly, God is faithful to us. If people are open, they're going to find you. You're going to find them. That's what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Amen.
What are your plans now? You've been on Revive since a year ago, last fall, about a year and a half now.
Mhm.
Okay, and so
Exactly.
what are your plans going forward? Are you going to go back to Panama? Are you going to go back to your medical work? What are you planning on
Yeah,
doing? You're 30 years old now. What do you want to do?
yeah. So yeah, this is a good question. Thank you for asking. I think I have been praying for it for what I'm gonna do next, revive, and um, I believe that God gave me the gift to be a doctor, and to help people. Um, and I have the chance also to help many people in my native place for months, no, for a year, and I have the desire to continue to help people, and especially people who needs who needs medicine, or maybe education about medicine, good health. So I'm trying to get like something in order. I'm trying to get a degree so I can travel from different places. So my degree is from Panama, and I would love to do is to get a degree from Spain. Um, and then with that, I can probably have more chances to travel to different places as a doctor, but also as I would love to do uh, like half mission, half helping people with medicine.
So, like medical
So
missionary work, you'd like to do that.
yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
kind of interesting you mentioned that, because I wrote down here there's another famous Albert, and your name is Albert, but there's a very famous medical missionary named
Yeah.
Dr. Albert Schweitzer, and that was about 100 years ago. I think he was Swiss or German, and
Mhm.
he was a doctor trained in medicine, but he felt called to go to Africa, and he spent most of his
Wow,
life serving as a medical missionary in
amazing.
Africa. He wrote many books, he wrote many commentaries, and he's
Wow.
just such a great example. But I immediately think about you, Alberto, because it sounds like you have that same desire. Like you shared with me in a previous interview that you spent a year serving your people in Guna,
Mm,
in the province
mhm.
where you were
Yeah.
born, serving. Can you talk a little bit about what you did during that time?
Yeah, sure. That was an amazing experience. I speak because I speak my native language. I could help many people over there. So over there we have almost 300 islands in my native place. People live in 58 islands, but we have hospital only in 28 of those islands. So what I was doing when I was working there is traveling to those islands where they don't have hospitals. So I had a team with nurses and the technicians and pharmaceutics and nutritionists, and I have a complete team, and we go together in a boat and we travel for and stay on those islands every 2 days. We travel to another island.
Wow.
So we stay like 2 3 days, and then we travel to another island. And we did that for almost in a year. And yeah, that was an amazing experience that I had. I could help many people who never gonna see um, never gonna have the chance to go to a hospital, but I could have the chance to see them.
That is so awesome.
And yeah, and not only to like to heal his illness, also to educate them. And even if there is like a pregnant woman over there, I could also deliver their babies. So that
That's
was an amazing experience that I had over there.
what a heart. Okay, let's talk a little bit about money. Most people become doc. I mean, I'm not going to generalize, but many people associate being a doctor with making a lot more money than average. It's a
Yeah.
higher paying profession in the States for
Mhm.
sure, but I'm guessing that it's a higher paying profession in Panama as well. But you've kind of left that to go into missionary work. Like what motivates you? Okay, what role does money
Yeah.
play in your life? How do what's driving
Yeah.
you?
Understand. So yeah, I think if I can be open, money always has been um no problem, like maybe worry in my life, because my family was very poor, and I had 6 siblings, with me with 7. So yes, that was, I grew up like struggling a lot with money. But then I study in a cheaper in the best and the cheaper university. So I actually didn't get any doubts, debt, any debt. So when I finished my degree, I started to work as a doctor. In Panama, it's not too much. It's like, if I can tell numbers here,
Sure, of
it's
course.
around 3,000 uh, when you start, dollars, $3,000,
Per
which
month,
is
per
not
month.
per month. Yeah, per
Okay.
month. Um, in Yeah, I was able to help my family. Now most of my siblings are professionals now. I help my parents, and now we are stable, right? But then, when I decided to go to Romania and revive, I knew that I was it was gonna be hard to raise money, because I didn't know many people. Like, yeah, I try my best to raise money, but I couldn't raise all the money. So I was like, how can I do? What can I do to get the money that I need to live in this mission, to go to this mission? So I was praying to God to have a good job, a better job, and I got it. Like, after Sean Wooten told me, like, you're gonna be in Revive. 1 month later, I got a better job, and I started to work, and I started to save money and save money and save money, along with my helping my family, and then I just got the money that I need to
That's amazing.
to go to Revive. So basically, I donate the money that I work in order to be in Revive.
Wow.
Now, in my second year, this is different, because I wasn't in Panama working as a doctor. So now Revive is helping me. Like, is I got this.
You have like a
Um,
scholarship or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
see.
So,
Okay. So
um,
so like
yes, that's why I'm
didn't
still here.
didn't your mom like freak out? Didn't your mom go like, "Honey, no, you got to stay here because you got to make money and help us out?" And I mean,
Good question. Good question. My mother. Uh, so my mother is very indigenous. She, um, we in my indigenous territory, Christianity is not common. And for my mother, she never heard about Jesus, until we started to go to those churches. But she was against, against with that idea that we wanted to go to church, because for her she was like, you need to study,
right.
and a church is a distraction, and obviously she didn't believe in Jesus and Christianity. So, but then, like 10, probably like 10 years ago, she started to believe
Wow.
in Jesus, because, um, um, in my native town, there is people who speak my native language, and people who preach in my native language. So she actually understood about Jesus, and she became a believer. She became a Christian. Unfortunately, in our church in Panama City, um, there is no people who can speak my native language. A few people, but so they couldn't. They couldn't study the Bible with my mother, but she found a place where she can listen and hear.
I see.
And so my mother supported me. My mother said, it's God's will.
Wow.
And okay, this is for God. Like you're
Wow.
doing this is what you're gonna do is for God. So it's God's will. So I'm okay with that. So my parents actually supported me to go to the mission field.
Wow. That's amazing.
So that's incredible.
So now you're going to go on and you're going to get another MD, another degree in Spain, in let's see, Barcelona or something like that.
In Madrid. So we had a church in Madrid. So I'm planning to go to Madrid.
And
so
that'll take that'll take 4 years plus residency.
It's gonna take 4 years. Yeah, it's gonna take 4 years. God's will, right?
I see. So you finish 4 years, but you don't have to do a residency after that. It's just 4 years and you're done.
So the residency actually is the like the specialty is when you do the residency. So it's 4 years of residency, and yeah, after that you finish.
I see. That's
you
nice.
got the degree.
Okay,
yeah.
so you take the credit that you received in Panama and then you just build on it. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about your romantic life. You're single, and do you want to get married? Are you thinking about getting married in the future?
Yeah, I would love to have a family. If it's God's will, right? I would love to find someone who can dream with me, someone who can go to, I don't know, to Africa, to Asia, to whatever.
Yeah. What are you looking for? Like in your ideal woman, what are you thinking about? What kind of a woman would you like to find?
Yeah, sure. First, that a woman who love God first, obviously, and second, I think a woman who is able to dream or able to do things not just for uh, God's people, but also for people who had needs. So because I wanted to do both, so I'm looking for someone who have compassion with people in need.
That's awesome. So you want someone who's spiritual, but you also want someone who really cares about serving people, like doing, helping, like the work you did in your local province, basically serving underprivileged people. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Well, I think you're certainly a great candidate for marriage. That's for sure. You're a doctor. You're a missionary. You're a spiritual man. Wow. I mean, you speak multiple languages. I think you're going to find someone really fantastic. So that's great. Okay. So where do you see yourself in 10 years? What would be like your dream scenario? You finish your second medical degree in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to be doing 10 years from now?
Yeah. So, yeah, I have been thinking also on that. I think I would love to be in a place where I can help as a like in a mission. I would say in a place where there is need spiritually, and also where I can build like a clinic or something.
That's great. Do you think that'll be a Spanish-speaking place or English, or you have a continent in mind or a country?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I am thinking about like probably Eastern Europe or Africa or Asia or even Latin America. Yeah.
Well, that pretty much covers everything right there.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like countries that there are needs, I'm thinking more.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking in big countries like maybe America or United Kingdom. I'm thinking more like in countries that small countries where I can have maybe to plant a church, but also like with medical.
That's great. Oh my gosh, so inspiring what you're planning. So you're thinking more of a developing country rather than a first world country, and
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
it also may depend on who you marry, because you may marry someone from a particular country that they want to go back and they want to live close to their mom and dad, or who knows.
That's why I need to choose
So that
good choose well. Yeah. Because yeah,
that's
I think yeah. One thing that I want to add is I found that it is easier for me to move to another place for some reason. Like I was in Romania, and my transition to Romania to here, it was great. And also when I was in Panama and working in my native place, um, also was great. And spiritually also. And so I feel like I want to not to stay in a place, in a comfort place. I want to go
right.
to other places.
That's awesome.
Um,
Well, I was reading about the Apostle Paul, and I'm always inspired by his life. And he said, he shares, I think in Corinthians, he says, I've been constantly on the move. He was always going different places, and I think that that's really, really powerful. What advice would you give to a person who wants to make this life count?
okay, that's a good question. Okay. Uh, yeah, I think. Yeah, I think. Yeah, everything start with Jesus, right? I think that dream that Jesus has uh, the dream that Jesus gave us to go to every nation, um, to baptize people. I think um, have that desire and not to be distracted for other things, and just to follow that dream. I think when you follow that dream and Jesus' dream, God's dream, and you take that dream with you, and became a dream also for you. You your life is better. You can do so much when you dream in that way, and it could be in your country, but in another town, or it can be in your local town, but I don't know, in the supermarket, and wherever you're going, or it can be crossing the continent to another country, but always like carrying that dream with you.
Right.
And I think that's when your life is gonna be worthy when you are taking that dream with you everywhere.
So no matter where you live, always keep the vision to go and make disciples of all nations in all places. Stay focused on Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Well, it's very inspiring to meet you and to talk to you, and to know that there are people like you who love Jesus, have a heart for the poor, who are using their talents and gifts and their education to serve the needy, as well as keep the mission. And sometimes I see people who they do one or the other. They're really very focused only on the mission and not really any serving, but you really seem to have that balance, and that's very, very impressive. So, Dr. Alberto, thank you so much for your time. All the best to you getting into the school in Madrid. I'll be praying for your
Thank you.
romantic life. I'm sure that God is going to send you an amazing woman into your life, no doubt about it. And all the best in your acquisition of Romanian. and your future there in Revive. So I look forward to keeping in touch with you. If it's okay with you, I'll put your contact email or information in the show notes so
Yeah,
people,
perfect.
if
Sure.
people want to
Yeah,
contact you or ask you more
perfect.
questions,
Yeah.
they can reach you. Would that be okay?
Yeah, it would be amazing. And also, I want to say, like, if there is people who are listening this and have that experience already, like you mentioned, Albert, or maybe there is another in our movement. There is people who already uh, uh, did something like a medical stuff and also like mission at the same time. I would love to be reached out by them, to talk with them. So if you
Right.
can uh, put my
Absolutely.
my email,
Well,
so I can talk to them.
I can definitely think of Dr. Mark Ottenweiler and also Kevin Broyles, Kevin Broyles led a clinic in Bolivia, and Mark Ottenweiler, he worked in South Africa and Soweto for many years. So I know that there are disciples who do that, but I know that
Amazing.
you can develop a great cohort of relationships with great people. So all the
Yeah.
best to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate that.
Thanks for listening. Here's how you can help support the program. First, let your friends know about the podcast. Secondly, read and review one of my books, How to Plant and Grow a Church, or Courage, How to Make This Life Count. I'm working on a third book that I'm hoping to get out really soon, and I'm wanted to get it done last year, but I'm hoping to get it done here in this first quarter. But you can find these books on Amazon.com. You can also support the program with a gift today, like I mentioned at the beginning. The link is in the show notes. So just go there, click on it, and I really appreciate your support because my goal is to inspire you to live a no regrets life and to multiply disciples, leaders, and churches. Have a great day and make this life count.